Food slaves ate in medieval times. Welcome to our YouTube channel, dedicated to exploring the captivating and often overlooked topic of types of foods slaves ate. We believe that history should be presented in all its complexity, shedding light on stories that are often silenced or forgotten. Through in-depth research and engaging content, we aim to take you on a journey back in time to understand the culinary experiences of enslaved individuals. By delving into history books, primary sources, and accounts from those who lived through these times, we strive to piece together the diverse range of foods that were consumed by slaves. Our channel aims to provide a platform for discussions and understanding, recognizing the resilience and resourcefulness of enslaved individuals who had to make do with limited resources. Through thought-provoking discussions, culinary demonstrations, and recreations of historical recipes, we invite you to join us on a journey of discovery. We hope to foster empathy and create a space where we can learn from the past, acknowledging the injustices suffered while appreciating the rich culinary heritage that emerged from these challenging circumstances. Subscribe to our channel to explore the fascinating world of food slaves ate, and join us in honoring the resilience and contributions of those who shaped our culinary traditions through adversity. Let us embark on this educational and eye-opening journey together. 10. Cornmeal. Cornmeal was a common staple food consumed by slaves in the United States during the time of slavery. Slavery in the United States existed primarily during the 17th to 19th centuries, when millions of Africans were forcibly brought to the Americas as slaves. Slaves were typically provided with a basic diet that was inexpensive and easy to produce. Cornmeal, derived from maize, was a cheap and readily available source of nutrition for slaves. It was often used to make cornbread, tortillas, or porridge. Slaves were given limited rations of cornmeal, along with other meager supplies like salted pork, vegetables, or occasionally small amounts of other grains. Their diets were generally insufficient in terms of variety and nutritional value. Food for slaves was dictated by their plantation owners or overseers, who aimed to provide the bare minimum needed to sustain their workforce while minimizing costs. The diets of slaves were often monotonous and lacked essential nutrients, leading to malnutrition and related health problems. It's important to acknowledge and remember this aspect of history, as it sheds light on the unjust treatment and harsh living conditions endured by enslaved individuals. 9. Beans. Beans played a significant role in the diet of slaves during the era of slavery. Beans were a cheap and readily available source of nutrition, making them a staple in slave diets. They provided a substantial amount of protein, fiber, and other essential nutrients. Enslaved individuals often had limited access to diverse food options, and beans served as a reliable and filling component of their meals. 8. Salted pork. Bacon. Salted pork was a significant staple in the diet of enslaved people. It served as a cheap and readily available source of protein. Slaves often received rations of salted pork, along with other basic foods like cornmeal or rice, from their owners or overseers. Since it could be preserved for long periods without refrigeration, salted pork was a reliable source of sustenance. However, it is important to note that the enslaved population's diet varied based on location, time period, and the resources available to slaveholders. 7. Molasses. Slaves often had limited access to diverse and nutritious foods, and molasses provided a concentrated source of calories and some essential nutrients. It was commonly used as a sweetener and flavoring agent in their meals. Slaves would incorporate molasses into dishes such as porridge, bread, and stews, which helped in adding flavor and provide energy. However, it's important to note that the diets of slaves varied depending on factors such as region, the crops they grew, and the conditions they lived in. 6. Sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes played a significant role in the diet of slaves during the time of slavery. They were a common and important food source for enslaved individuals due to their availability and nutritional value. Slaves often relied on sweet potatoes as a staple crop that provided sustenance and energy. They were relatively easy to grow and could be cultivated in small plots of land. Enslaved individuals incorporated sweet potatoes into their meals in various forms, including boiled, roasted, mashed, or made into pies. They provided essential carbohydrates and vitamins, helping to sustain the enslaved population. 5. Okra. It was one of the few staple foods that slaves could grow in their own gardens or obtain easily. Okra was a versatile and nutritious vegetable that could be added to soups, stews, and served as a side dish. It provided essential vitamins and minerals, and its mucilaginous nature helped to thicken dishes. Okra became an integral part of African American cuisine and continues to be celebrated in various culinary traditions today. 4. Cabbage. Cabbage played a significant role in the diet of slaves during the time of enslavement. It was a readily available and affordable food source that provided essential nutrients. Slaves often received rations of cabbage, along with other vegetables, grains, and occasionally meat or fish. Cabbage was versatile and could be prepared in various ways, such as boiled, stewed, or added to soups. While the diet of slaves varied depending on time and location, cabbage was a common staple that helped sustain them. 3. Fruits. Fruits played a limited role in the diet of slaves during the historical period. The availability and variety of fruits in slave diets depended on various factors, such as geographic location, season, and the specific conditions of slavery in different regions and time periods. In many cases, slaves were provided with a basic and monotonous diet consisting mainly of staple foods like cornmeal, rice, and vegetables. Fruits were considered a luxury item and were often scarce or unavailable to slaves. Their access to fruits was generally limited to what they could gather or grow for themselves, which was minimal under the oppressive conditions of slavery. However, it is worth noting that the actual diet of slaves varied greatly depending on the specific plantation and the resources available to the slaveholders. Some slaves who worked in or around plantations with fruit-bearing trees, such as apple or peach orchards, may have had occasional access to these fruits. Overall, while fruits were not a significant or regular part of the diet for most slaves, there may have been some exceptions based on individual circumstances and the particular conditions of their enslavement. 2. Peanuts. Peanuts played a significant role in the diet of slaves during the era of slavery in the United States. Peanuts were a cheap and easily accessible source of nutrition, providing a good amount of protein, fat, and other essential nutrients. They were often given to slaves as a supplement to their main diet, which usually consisted of cornmeal, salted pork, and vegetables. Peanuts were consumed in various forms, such as boiled, roasted, or ground into peanut butter. They helped to alleviate hunger and provided a valuable source of sustenance for slaves, particularly during times of scarcity or when rations were limited. 1. Rice. Rice played a significant role in the diet of slaves, particularly in the southern United States where rice cultivation was prevalent. Slaves were often tasked with cultivating, harvesting, and processing rice on plantations. They were given a basic ration of food, which typically included a portion of rice. Due to its availability and affordability, rice formed a substantial part of their diet and provided a crucial source of sustenance and calories.